Welcome to our first edition of Pittsburgh Sportsline at Atria's PNC Park, 103 Federal Street. We're just happy to be here. Believe it or not, Atria's management said we were invited back, and we'll be here on the 19th also. Thank you. What a great venue, and I want to give a special thanks to everybody who showed up and did not lie to me. This will be broadcast on YouTube forever, so all you people that see the events that I post, and I think there were almost, 35 people that said they were coming, plus a few other maybes. We got a nice crowd here, and I want to thank you for braving the weather. The wind chill factor took it down to 3 degrees. So you get my credit for coming in here to see us and watch us talk, and we got some great guests coming up. I'm thankful to Bethel Park for letting us venture out here. They gave us permission. We can come out anytime they want to have us, so we appreciate that. You can watch all of our shows on YouTube. We're now at 270 shows on YouTube. I have a link. If anybody asks for it, I'll send it to you by email or whatever. Now, I figured out you'd have to watch it if it's an hour show each. It might be 11 days that you have to watch our show, so be prepared. We're also on Verizon 32 everywhere in the Pittsburgh area, and we're hearing a little bit that some people aren't picking us up in their areas, like a good friend of mine, Gene Malerbo in Peters Township. He can't watch us on Verizon 32, so I told him he just got to move to Bethel Park, but he's not doing that. And we're on Comcast 7 only in Bethel Park. That's how Comcast set it up. We can't change the rules. That's public access TV. We appreciate everybody watching us, especially watch us on YouTube. It's easy to get a hold of there. Just go to our Pittsburgh Sportsline Facebook page. I left the house and we had 3,735 likes. That's the highest level we've ever been. And I'm getting some criticism from Zach Brenner and a couple others. They go, well, you always set a world record. I said, well, just last week we're at 3,733. And I said that was a world record. We dropped to 3,731. So some people maybe that don't like Pittsburgh sports or what we put out, because I put all sports on there, maybe they get off after they see some of the comments. But I'm for all the people that are loyal to their teams. We even have a guy or a girl maybe will come up and say what city they're for, and we'll talk about that. And I'm Al Levine, the Talking Machine. We got Smokin' Jim Frazier, and one of our co-hosts from Tuesday night, Little Z, Zach Brenner. He just come in, so we started the show. Normally we start about 7:30. And Smokin' Jim, we start the first segment with of 2015. I can't wait to hear this one. What's on your mind?
Thanks, Al Levine, the Talking Machine. And if you want the green,
Hold it.
you got to see Levine.
Whoa.
Hey, a big hand for international master photographer Bill Boyce and his beautiful models in the house. After Saturday night, I shaved off my playoff beard. Listen, whether you're young or old, if you're a Pittsburgher, you bleed black and gold. So the Pittsburgh Steelers and Coach Mike Tomlin, you ought to be ashamed of yourself for trying to justify an injustice. It's an injustice to have a 53-player roster and not one backup running back. It's an injustice to pay Cortez Allen $7 million a year, and he's the worst cornerback in the National Football League. It's an injustice to draft Jarvis Too Slow Jones in the first round, and he's the worst outside linebacker in the NFL. It's an injustice to give 350-pound Marcus Gilbert a $30 million contract. Marcus Gilbert is fat, slow, lazy, sloppy, and out of shape. The only reason he's the starting right tackle is because he loves Ben Roethlisberger. At 350 pounds, he loves anything with burger in it. In the words of the late, great Stuart Scott, that's booyah. And I tell you what, it's also a disgrace, a shame, and a disgrace against all the loyal, diehard members of Steeler Nation.
For anyone that hasn't heard him live, I tried to warn you.
Thanks, Coach.
Well, it's funny how he brought up the Steelers. All year I heard they don't want to be great. They're just going to be 8-8. Now, I don't usually crow too much because I have a lot of esteemed colleagues here who make their predictions and give me all this logical stuff that he does. He's an NFL scout. Well, I predicted 11-5. I wavered mid-season because I thought they were rebelling against the coaches that shouldn't have been here. Todd Haley, I'm not a hater, and other coaches who maybe people thought they were getting old, who I said they weren't getting old. Players weren't playing. So 11-5 was what they ended up. When you're rebuilding, which I know, where's that stadium at? Back that way? They don't say that. In Pittsburgh, have you ever heard the Steelers mention one time in the modern era, I mean when they win games, that they're rebuilding? I haven't heard that. They're rebuilding. To me, it was a great season. They had the easiest schedule they're going to have. Next year will be more difficult. They were 11-5, 11-6 counting that loss. I thought it was a good year. I bleed black and gold, but I don't live vicariously through them like Smoking Jim and others. That's their whole life. So you have to watch that and put that in perspective. If you're venting and you aren't going to see your psychologist or psychiatrist, I understand. And don't miss your appointments because it's a long year. And I've already got phone calls. When are they firing Tomlin? When are they firing Haley? I said, did you hear the Rooney say anything? That's what's on my mind. We're going to start bringing up our guests. And we have one of our youngest guests who I'm very proud to have her on our show. And a lot of people are nervous, just like most people don't know that I'm nervous. But I drink a lot of water. Keeps me steady. So we're going to bring up a boxer. And this is just unbelievable. She won her debut fight. Not that she did it, but against who she did it. And I had some inside info on it, and we'll call that guy up later because he's getting up here too. Catherine, will you come up here now?
Your champ is here.
That was her first fight. Catherine, welcome to our show.
Thank you.
Can you tell people your name?
My name's Catherine Bateman.
Can you tell them how old you are?
I'm 14.
Can you say hi to your parents here who are so proud that you're on TV? You're going to have a lot of fans out there, you know that.
Yeah.
And make sure, like I'm not a creeper or a stalker or a hater, so they can like me and they can like Pittsburgh Sportsline. And I'll stop bouncing off the table because I'm nervous. Now, I asked my normal questions. You already answered the first one. And I prepped you for the second one.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite sport?
My favorite sport is boxing.
All right. Where do you box at?
I box at Pittsburgh Boxing Club 51.
I won't even ask if that's your favorite team.
That is my favorite team.
Now, how long have you been doing it?
I've been boxing for a year.
1 year. Now, do you have brothers and sisters?
I have an older brother.
Now I know why you want to box. I figured it out. Those second children, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
You might be shy and quiet. I was once. There's hope for you. What grade are you in?
I'm in 9th grade.
Do you like school?
It's okay.
Well, the reason I say it is Smoking Jim is a huge proponent of homeschooling. I'm totally against it because he feels if you're good at a sport, you should just stay home and do that sport.
I think I'd like that.
Uh-oh. No, we're going to have to end this interview. You're agreeing with Smoking Jim. But we understand that. Your parents don't look like they want to teach you at home, though.
No.
What school do you go to?
I go to Keystone Oaks.
Oh, my
School
goodness.
district.
That's my alma mater.
Really?
You know what? You got to love that school. Tell Coach Sig, who's a history teacher, that I said hello. Will you do that?
Yeah.
All right. Tell him you met Al Levine, the talking machine.
Okay.
All right. Well, thanks for coming up here. And should we watch another fight that's coming up for you? Do you have another fight?
Not yet, but
Are you going
I
to be in
should
Golden
soon.
Gloves this year?
I'm not old enough, but
Oh, man. 15.
it's,
We're going to get you up, sir. No, I appreciate it. Good luck to you, KO. Go
you.
KO.
Hello, I'm Steve Lewandowski. They call me Skeets.
You may not have to lean in it.
right.
Can you hear? He's scaring
All
me
right,
here.
sorry.
He's not packing any ammo tonight.
I didn't bring nothing.
Thank you.
Steve Lewandowski. They call me Skeets, and I help train the fighters.
Where at?
Route 51
Name one
box.
place.
Route 51 box.
Okay.
Yes. And I help out at the South Park, too.
I
I
know.
help with a couple different gyms I go to.
Well, you're everywhere. Whenever I go somewhere, when we're doing boxing, he's in the ring. No, he's not boxing. He used to do that. He's a referee. Then I look around, he's a judge. Then I look again and he's hustling tickets or something.
Yeah.
What don't you do?
Anything at the fights. When there's a fight, I just love being there, and that's what I'm into, boxing. That's my favorite sport, too. So.
Oh,
I'm
man,
with
I
all
was
the
going to
fights.
ask you.
Yeah.
Don't you like Steelers a little bit?
Yeah, I'm a Steeler fan, but like I said, I'm disappointed in what happened there Saturday night, bummed out, but
Well, you know how
get
it
them
is.
next year.
Well, there's always next year. They're not the same old Steelers, but at least they were 11-5. That 8-8 was getting boring.
Yeah, that's
You know?
true, yeah.
I didn't like that, and hearing that every week was bothersome too.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Well, tell me a little bit about the boxing clubs. Who should we look for with Golden Gloves and stuff coming up?
Well,
You want to drop any names?
What, out of Route 51? Well, we're going to have
Yes.
Catherine. She's going to be fighting for us in the juniors for the Golden Gloves.
Okay.
Then we got Silvio.
Yeah.
Let me see who we got. Silvio Cercone.
Bring your cheat sheet, because I surprised him because I knew he could handle this. If
Yeah.
anybody could out-talk me tonight except for Kenny O, this is the man.
Hey, I was a ring announcer too already this year. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yeah, I
The
did.
fights.
I didn't
Yeah,
want to
so
bring up
I've
any
done the ring
competition
annou-
there.
Yeah, no, I can't, nothing.
I didn't
but
want to
you
compete
guys.
with that. You're an all-star.
But hey, there's Ricky Keck. We got Sylvia Cercone, Brandon Azalina, and Catherine Bateman. We're going to fight these kids in the Golden Gloves coming up in the end of March.
And he's a great corner man, too. I don't know what else I can
Corner
keep
man,
saying.
yeah,
The
dude,
corner
corner
man,
man.
he's unreal. He's a great coach. He's
Thank you.
he's
Thank you.
telling them what's going to happen before they hit him. So, I mean, that's
You
a
can
good
almost
coach.
see that when
Right.
it's
They
gonna
telegraph
happen.
that stuff,
Right, right.
especially at that age.
Right. Hey, we got a kid named Hunter Matthews. He's fighting in the Nationals right now out in Reno.
For silver,
For
or-
that's youth national championships.
Okay.
And then we got Tika Hemingway. She's going to fight for the Olympic qualifiers, and that'll be on the 17th. They'll leave for Washington, state of
that's
Washington.
great.
Yeah,
you know what? I'm glad you come in tonight.
yeah.
I'm glad
Thank
you didn't
guys.
stay at home in the boxing gym in a corner there.
Yeah, well, it was either that or come here tonight, so I decided to come here.
You're welcome back
Hey,
anytime.
Thank you. Thanks,
Whoa.
boys. Thank you, guys, man. Appreciate
Thanks,
that.
Skeets.
Okay.
I've been trying to get this lady on the show for almost a year that she moved back, or somewhere around that. You can
Yeah.
move it up a little if you want.
Like this.
All right. And they should be able to hear you. She knows all about TV and production and everything else. So. Introduce yourself, please.
I'm Jennifer Hain, and I am the
You-
founder of Jennifer Lee Life Coaching. So
And
I'm
we'll
a
talk
motivation-
about that
okay.
later. That's
I
Shane
didn't know
went-
what all the.
I just wanted you to introduce yourself, and then I'll ask you another question if you have a favorite team or anything.
Okay. Are you going to ask me that?
I'll ask that now. I'm never going to prep anybody anymore. That's it. I'm done with this. No more prepping.
Pittsburgh Steelers, of course,
Why?
for football.
You just
Because
moved
I
back.
know,
You were
I know.
living in California.
I
You
know,
don't even
but
know
I
what a
didn't-
Steeler is.
That's wrong. I grew up here though. I was born and raised.
Yeah, but once you go
where I
out
spent most
west
of
and
my
all
days.
that sun and beach,
Yeah, but I don't, I've talked to you a little bit about this. I'm not I'm a Pittsburgh fan. I have Pittsburgh pride, but I don't really follow sports all that well. I like to play sports,
Okay, well, we're going to change the subject. What sports did you play? Forget the
softball,
Steelers.
volleyball,
Where at?
Penn State Beaver. I played at
No
college.
way, at Penn State, grad.
And I coach their volleyball now. So.
I think you graduated the same year my daughter Casey did. She
Really?
was supposed to come out this week, but she ran late for work. She'll be out in 2 weeks, Smoking Jim, at Atria's here. She wants to try that talking machine Big Mouth Burger. She's been hearing this talking machine her whole life.
I need to try that too. Yeah.
Well, you try it tonight.
Yeah. Oh, pressure's on.
It is.
Okay.
We'll see if you can handle it.
But fun thing, I didn't realize that there were going to be MMA fighters here tonight or boxers, but I kind of have a little bit of a tie-in with that. So you know how I do hosting out in California?
Yes.
Well, I helped host, it was called Umba TV, the Silver Gloves boxing tournament. So it was ages 9 to 14.
Which
that was the first time
Skeets was just talking about that.
Yeah, and it wasn't the golden, but it was
a silver.
So little though. It was really cool. But that was my first time ever hosting for like a sporting event.
See, I
so
knew
that
we
was
could
kind of
pull
neat.
it. We could pull it out from these guests.
Yeah.
We're worried about sports.
I kind of
This is
blended.
Pittsburgh. Everybody got some sports connection, even if they hate sports. And they hate the Steelers, and they got to get rid of everybody, and we suck. Why are people agreeing with me? Well, enough sports, because you've covered everything, even in California. You know I like to do a shameless promotion.
Yes.
And the only reason you're on is because you took care of my co-host, the son I didn't know I had, and the son I can't get rid of. I'm stuck with him, Zach Brenner. And I heard that interview, and it was one of the better interviews that I've heard in Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
so.
it was awesome. He was so fun to have on the show. It was for...
Don't build that ego up.
I know, I see him over there.
I told him he was terrible.
I'm sure you did. But you
Well,
guys have that relationship, so...
What? I like him.
Yeah, it was a podcast. It's called On Fire to Inspire, and it's on my website, JenniferLeeLifeCoaching.com.
How do they find it?
Well, you can go on the website, and there's a tab that says On Fire to Inspire, and there's a direct link on there that will take you to the podcast and Zach's show and past shows as well. And Alan and I are actually going to be doing an in-person interview on my website too. So that's an exciting...
I found out a secret. She's only talking to handsome young guys. So I only qualify on one of those counts. I caught
The
her.
young, right?
No,
I'm kidding.
I'm sarcastic. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But I
no, I'm
told you I'd
excited.
surprise you and I'd try to stump you. How did I do?
You did good.
Okay.
You did good. I'm not very quick-witted, and you are, so I was a little nervous about that.
Well, I try to treat most of my guests with respect. Later on, you'll find out when I have to throw one of the gentlemen off the show. We'll find out who he is. He's not an MMA fighter because I have the utmost respect for him. But you'll find out later on.
Well, thank
Anything
you.
else you want to say? What should we look for with the life coaching and you're on fire? What's happening there?
Well, I have an interview coming up. It's going to be posted on my website.
Tell us what it is.
It's a Pittsburgh-based comedian. I just interviewed him at Hambones out in Lawrenceville.
Since
'Cause
I
he's-
saw his
yeah.
name, can you tell us his name?
Brandon Shell.
Okay.
Brandon Shell, yeah. He's 24 years old. He's hilarious, but I got to see one of his live shows, and that was pretty neat. And then I asked him to come on for an in-person interview, and so that's the latest interview that's going to be coming up the next week. So.
Well, that's why we wanted to do it, and we
Yeah.
brought you here. Jennifer, it's
Thank
so
you.
nice for you to
Thank
make
you.
it finally.
Thank you.
And I'll look for our interview next year sometime.
Hello.
Welcome to our show.
Thank you for having me.
Do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Shalice Jeter. You want me to say more?
Pardon me?
Do you want me to say more?
No,
Keep
that's
going.
good. I just do a pause while he always tries to catch me while I'm talking. So I'm trying not to talk with the photo, but we'll just smile. Now, you know I ask a couple questions, so I dug deep. Since I've been coaching everybody, and I'm not that good of a coach because they fumbled the ball each time, I know you don't really have a favorite sport, but I know you played sports.
Yes, I have.
Why don't you describe the sports that you've played, since this is a sports-themed show?
Well, I've played soccer and softball. I don't really consider this a sport. Well, a lot of people don't consider it a sport, but I do cheerleading and modeling. But
Now what?
favorite sport.
I got a question. I'm a NASCAR fan, and people say that's not a sport, but guys got to make left turns and fight gravity around those turns at 200 miles an hour. So I think you have to be in shape. Now, if you tell me you work out to stay in shape and you diet and you lift weights or you run or something like that, then I could believe that's a sport.
Well, cheerleading, I'm lifting female, so I call those weights. And modeling, I practice at it, and I guess me trying to hold myself up on hills is lifting weights as well.
Do you notice how I gave her a little softball here, and I saw some people smiling when I asked that? Now she looks relaxed, and we'll get some conversation. Now, another thing is, I'm very proud to meet you, and it's an honor to have somebody that's serving our country. Do you want to describe what you do?
Yes, I'm also in the National Guard. I joined last year in March, I do believe. I just got back from basic training in Oklahoma, Fort Sill, and I'm on my way to AIT this upcoming summer, and I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you. And Devin Shea is shaking his head. He's our Army veteran on the staff, 2 tours of duty, and he doesn't have weapons. Maybe a knife on him right now, because I'm worried about him. So, but he's doing a great job tonight. He's spot on. That's Aaron Ward on the camera there too. And what else do you do?
I do a lot of side things. Like I have.
Name one.
Well, I work 2 jobs. I work at McDonald's and Forever 21.
Okay.
I'm a cheerleading coach now. I don't cheerlead anymore.
Why not?
Well, because the team kind of sucks now. So.
You can say that on air.
Well, yeah, I'm a cheerleading coach now.
Oh, we understand that.
It's pretty much everything besides modeling.
Well, you just mentioned something I was trying to pull out of you. Did you say modeling?
Yes, I model as well. I just started around this time, actually, like literally a week from today, I started modeling. I'm now with Jim, All Shades of Beauty, and last job I did for him, I was a ring girl in a wrestling match. That was very extraordinary for me.
That's extraordinary for us to hear that. Where was that at?
It was on the outskirts of Pennsylvania, West Virginia?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's out there. Definitely. Well, Shalise, I wish you good luck. And where are you going to go be trained at now, you said?
I actually don't know yet.
Okay, don't kill me. I understand. My son's in the Navy. We'll let you go on that. You're welcome back anytime.
Oh, thank you. Any questions, Jim?
No, beautiful women make me nervous, so I'm tongue-tied.
Thank you.
We were trying to deal more with sports tonight. He's handling our entertainment side of it. Thank you. Tell them your name.
My name's Cody Heyer.
And I already tipped them off. You're an MMA fighter.
Yeah.
But I like to. We'll talk that sport in a second because we've been very big in promoting MMA and most of the gyms and people. We found out it's a violent sport, but there's a lot of great people, mild-mannered, respectful people that want to stay in shape, and they also mentor other people. And I've heard those good things about you.
I appreciate that.
So we'll talk about sports. Now, you already tipped me off that you're not a Pittsburgh Steelers fan because you weren't born here.
That's very true.
So as long as you're being honest, we'll put it out to all your friends and stuff. Go ahead.
I'm actually from Michigan, Detroit Lions fan.
Where'd you grow up in Michigan?
A small town outside of Flint.
Okay.
It's called Davison.
I never heard of it.
No one has.
Ah, jeez. Well, at least it's not the inner city of Murder City.
That's true.
So
They
that's
got robbed yesterday.
He's going to talk about that right
Oh,
now.
Lions. Oh, yeah. That was a heartbreaker,
Yes.
right?
I told him I was watching a football game, and I was sort of happy because the Cowboys didn't score any points. It was 17-0.
Terrible.
So my daughter and I went shopping, and I didn't know that something happened during the game.
A lot happened during that game.
Why don't you tell us a couple things?
Well, the Lions were the Lions.
Yeah, you can sit back. I think they can pick
yeah.
up.
Well, they fell apart.
We understand.
There's some bad calls going in the game, but I mean, I'm not really one to.
Right.
I'm not qualified to make comments on that, but
Right.
it's just
Looks
heartbreaker.
suspicious.
It was suspicious. Definitely questionable.
Well-
I know the best thing to say is we'll get it. We'll come back strong and get ready for next year.
I like your attitude. That's what I'm saying about the Steelers, but I'm not hearing a lot of my friends saying that.
No, the Steelers are a good team, man. They're my second favorite team. So.
Oh, good.
Now that both my teams are out, I'm probably rooting for the Broncos.
Are you?
See what Peyton's got.
Smoke and Jim will agree with whatever our guest is saying. I voted for Cleveland. Oh, thanks. I didn't say that.
Old man Zell.
Tell us about this MMA. Where do you fight out of?
I fight at a Stout Training, Henzo Gracie, Pittsburgh. It's in the Strip District.
Right. Very good reputation.
Oh yeah, we're definitely a growing gym. Our team's growing every day. We're getting better.
You want to shout out to your coaches or anybody? Or
Oh
any
yeah, I got to
teammates?
give a shout out to our owner, Warren Stout, head coach, assistant coach Mike Wilkins, all my teammates. I got a couple teammates that are fighting January 24th for Gladiators of the Cage. Andy
Right.
Anderson and Zach Grossman. So we'll be looking to set back in the cage. And
When are you going to be fighting?
I'm looking to fight around June or July.
Are you?
Yeah, I want to fine tune everything. You know,
Okay.
Work
What
on my
weight class
hands.
are you?
145 right now.
145.
Yes, sir.
Wow, you're bigger than I thought.
Yeah.
They must have fed you well in Detroit.
The old Detroit.
Just kidding there. And how long have you been in MMA?
I've been in MMA for about a year and a half now.
Get on.
Yeah.
What's
year
your
and a half.
record?
3-1.
That's great. I've seen you. You're pretty strong and you move around a lot. Were you a wrestler?
Yes, actually, I wrestled my whole life. I wrestled for Davison, Michigan, and I wrestled.
And we learned about that city earlier, so now
Yeah,
we
no
know.
one knows about it.
We know
We know
now.
a little bit more now,
Now
right?
this will be on YouTube. You want to shout out to your parents and friends about Davidson
Hi,
College?
Mom. Love you, Mom.
We need that a little bit. It's a family show here.
Family show.
And
I
you
feel
wrestled
that.
for 4 years plus high school?
And then I wrestled in college, yeah.
Okay.
At Eastern Michigan.
Did you?
Yep. Got to travel around, wrestle all the big D1 universities. So
What kind of record did you have?
let's not talk about it.
Okay. So you were in it for the fun of the game.
Let's not talk about it.
Okay. What got you into MMA?
Actually, that's kind of a funny story.
Wow.
And my roommate, that's actually why I got to Pittsburgh. My roommate in college was Sean Clare, well-known Pennsylvania wrestler around from this area. He was my roommate.
Yeah.
And he introduced me to Mike Wilkins.
Sure.
Who's, one of the up-and-coming.
Isn't he from Monroeville or something?
Sean? Or
No, Mike.
Braddock.
Braddock. Okay.
Right. He's one of the up-and-coming pro fighters out of the area.
I've seen him.
And
We've
he's
seen him a few
phenomenal.
times.
He's phenomenal. He's got a great win against Coggins. He's
Yes, he
going
did.
places.
How did you get here then?
Well, I met Mike back in 2009
Okay.
through Sean, and I made a promise to him back then. He was just starting getting in the fight, and I told him, if you ever become the guy, you become the man, I will quit my life and I will come train with you.
Yeah.
So I got a text last year, and actually 2013, and he sent me a text of his win over another fighter in the area. And
Right.
he said, "Where are you?" I said, "I'm on my way."
Wow.
Ipso facto,
What
I'm
good
here.
friends. Awesome story. That's a great story.
Yeah, so I just quit my job, got out of my apartment, and
Come here.
Became Pennsylvanian.
Nice. You're a Pittsburgher. Somewhat.
A little bit. Just that
Definitely.
much.
Well, once you try that Talking Machine Big Mouth Burger, only
you're
available at
building- you're
Atria's
building it
PNC
up.
Park. You got to order one of those things. It got everything on it.
That's what I'm saying. You've been building it up. I got to try it.
Well, it's got some healthy things in there like bacon, hamburger. Then it has guacamole,
I love
marinara. It has, for a little spicy, jalapenos. That's a healthy vegetable. And it has pepper jack and some provolone.
Sounds phenomenal.
No onions unless you want it. We had somebody
gotta have
had
onions.
onions on his, and he bit a finger off earlier. So, but other than that, yeah, check it out. Thanks for coming to our
problem.
show.
Thanks for having me.
And good luck to you in the future.
I tell you what, I don't know how we got this guy known all over the world. If you watch HBO, Showtime, ESPN, usually the photographer in the ring is this guy here. He's known as one of the top professional boxing photographers on the planet. Big hand for Kenny.
You done talking? I wasn't sure. What an intro. Well, that's why I like having him do that intro. Not that you're good friends or anything.
Well, Jim and I go back a long time, you know.
Don't tell us that whole story. Please. Hold it. Who else is with you? Who
My
brought
wife,
you
my
here?
lovely wife, Judy. 26 years, 23 years married. She still puts up with me.
God bless her.
Al, it's a pleasure to be here. Jim, love you guys. Great show. This is a beautiful place to have a sports show.
Atria's PNC
Absolutely
Park.
beautiful.
Tell your friends. Did you eat the Big Mouth Burger? You know I got to promote it. I make 1 penny on every burger that they sell. No, I'm exaggerating. It's a half a cent. because they can't figure out how to do the math.
Oh.
All right, think about it. It's brilliant.
Well, I'll tell you what, this
You
is
just
a nice
start
place.
telling us.
The biggest thing I noticed on the show, we got young boxers that have been on the show 14 years of age. I think that's absolutely remarkable that a young lady is boxing at that age. Of course, I was with Frank Luca for 40 years in Vegas. I was with the man that owned Friday Night Fights. I was his director and photographer, and we had Layla McCarter, who has 10 titles, and now she's an FBI agent and has a new child.
Wow.
Does she have a husband there too?
Oh yeah,
Okay, just
she got
checking
married.
because the
She left
FBI.
us.
Hey, I got to interrupt you. You talked about Frank Luca before when we met. Well, Smokin' Jim and I were honored this summer. We did Madness at the Meadows, and guess whose boxing group ran the whole thing? Frank Luca. We're now friends with him. I have him right in my phone here.
Frank, no doubt about it, one of the greatest promoters in the world.
50 years in the business.
50 years.
See how I know now? I got
And,
some of your lines.
Now, I'll tell you what, I left him this summer after working with the Meadowlands thing. I got an opportunity I couldn't turn down. My buddy Mike Murray got with World Rank Boxing with the great John Canterbury. John's been in promotions 50 years like Frank. The thing about it, it's a new organization. It's really going to be something for kids. 24 fighters we have in our camp. I'm also with another corporation, Made Men Promotions, with Angelo. I got to remember Angelo's last name.
Don't they fight out of West Virginia?
Yes, that's it. Maganoni, right? Maganoni, yes. Out of Steubenville, I
Thanks,
think.
Skeets. He gets an assist
I
now.
remember him with his headgear on, a mountaineer, and other times. And this young man, 24 years old, is doing something remarkable. And he's got a fight coming up February 7th. We're going to have a fight around March at the Syrian Temple for World Rank Boxing. We have a young man in our camp, Fabiano Pena, that could be the next world champion. This kid is a monster.
What weight? What weight class? Do you know?
He is 168 we're going to have him at. Wow. And we got another young man we just signed out of Jersey, Dave Volchek, who gave our fighter a run for his money up in West Virginia on Angelo's card a few weeks ago at Wheeling Resort Casino, which was a beautiful event. 2-night performance Angelo had, so it was pretty good up there.
Nice.
The thing about it, I did 40 years with Frank in Vegas, Madison Square Garden, and all over this planet. It was a lot of fun. You don't get any better than working with a Frank Luca. But I'm getting an opportunity to be kind of home. My wife put up with it that I was gone every 6 weeks, and I get to stay a little bit more home and actually see fighters around my area that I've seen grow up and getting a chance and stuff. That's what I like about this.
Nice. Nice. Well, what's your next project? What else do you got going on top of all that?
Well,
I know that you always have something else.
Well, we finished a series called Brittany's Ghost Girls.
See, I knew I could pull it
doing
out
still
of 'em.
photography for this
You're the best.
paranormal show. It's on YouTube or iHeartRadio or something.
I can see somebody
some weird
following
stuff-
you. Can you
some
move
weird
over a
stuff.
little? There's like somebody hanging over your
Some weird
shoulder.
stuff happened on this.
I know. Who is that
on this
person with
show.
you?
It was the first time I got to experience something like that.
So
in
it's all real.
photographing. Unbelievable stuff happened. Check it out. Some really
Did you
incredible
get a
scenes.
photo of a ghost?
I got more than that. I got
Tease us a little.
I got some stuff that made me sit straight. We were in a cemetery out in Cranberry area where a bunch of people died in the 17, 1800s.
Are you kidding? In a cemetery?
Yeah, and nighttime, late
I never
at night.
heard of that.
Late at night, I took a photo because we had a gentleman that he can see things that other people can't see, and he said, shoot over here in the corner. And I said, okay, I'll do this for you. I shot it, and then when we saw it, I almost passed out. We had spheres. Spheres is spirits, people that are trying to find themselves. And
I got to interrupt you. Pittsburgh
pretty-
Sportsline is now branching out in a special edition of paranormal experiences with a world-renowned photographer, international boxing, and blah, blah, blah. He's here.
it was rather interesting. I'll
That
tell
is,
you
because
that.
I actually
Yeah.
believe in that.
Yeah. But
Ghostbusters is one of my favorite movies. The first
good
one.
stuff. Good stuff. The thing about the boxing.
What did you see, though? You're teasing me.
Spheres.
Just spheres.
Spheres is it's
like orbs,
circle
spheres.
orbs. I mean,
Okay.
I'm seeing them, and you know,
Colors?
no, almost like a light,
Luminous.
luminous, and very beautiful, actually. I
He's
loved
eating
it.
all the
I loved
fries
it.
now.
I
You
noticed
distracted
that.
me with all the
you know,
spheres.
but it was the first time that I got to do this with a camera. I've seen it before. As a little boy, we lived near train tracks in upstate New York, and around 8, 9 years of age, I was walking downstairs one day and got the, let's put it this way, I saw something I didn't expect. And so I always believed in it, and then when you shoot it and actually get to see stuff, it was pretty interesting.
That
It was
is.
pretty
I'm fascinated by
And
that.
we had some other instances where I was doing a shot at a car place with a bunch of custom cars, and my camera tripod, we were walking away from it, flipped up in the air and came back down. My camera tripod weighs over 55 pounds. And when you see...
Now I know why Judy's your humble assistant.
I'll tell
I know
you-
you're not carrying
Oh
that.
my goodness,
you.
man! I did not expect it, and
That is shocking.
it was rather interesting.
What
But
were the
you gotta
photos
see-
that they took looking like? Did
there's-
they take any photos,
Yeah,
the ghost?
The
or-
Brittany's Ghost Girls has a lot of shots. You got to go on the site itself, BrittanyGhostGirls.com, and you can see
Smoke
some
and Jim, just Google
absolutely
that right now.
amazing photos. I also there's video, there's still, there's all kinds of stuff, man. And so
I
it
never
was
knew
rather-
we'd bring something out like this because you've been boxing, and I was so glad to have you on the show because we did have a couple cancellations due to sickness and everything else. And Smoke and Jim called in at the last minute, and I said, if I can keep Kenny O under 2 minutes, he's welcome to it. Guess what? I failed. It's over.
It was rather interesting, and my wife was part of that with me, and so it was.
Well,
it
she
was
had to
pretty
carry the
incredible.
tripod, the
No,
camera.
she was videoing and
I've
shooting.
seen her. She's one of the hardest workers.
She was videoing and shooting also. She was doing both.
I've seen her carry you. Remember, I've been
She's
around
carried
a
me
few
many
things.
times.
Definitely. Well, this isn't Beat Up
Yeah.
Kenny O. It's our first show of the year.
Yeah.
And I'm
It's
glad
good
you could
stuff.
be on our debut show of 2015.
Thank you, Al, very much.
And thanks for sharing that. We're going to have you on again.
Thank you. That's a pleasure. I love coming on here.
And it's a pleasure
It's always a
having
pleasure
you.
to see my best friend here, one of my best friends in the world, definitely, and one of the greatest writers in the world of sports also, folks. Definitely.
Except for one thing, he doesn't really read. I mean, it's unusual. I mean, I'm a voracious reader. He reads nothing. And I constantly post, never mind.
He's a
can be your.
walking encyclopedia, you know that.
I know. I like picking that brain, but it's hard to get in there. With that, you're done.
God bless. Have a good
God bless you.
2015,
You
guys.
too.
Pleasure to be on the show.
Kenny O.
Thank you.
Big hand for Kenny O! Smoking Jim, can I get a fry?
Yeah. Here, you can have everything that's left.
You could almost bet your bottom dollar, folks. If there's some free food, man, Smoking Jim got it.
You want to have tomato soup? Anybody got water for him? Laura, where's that water? We can have tomato soup for Zeke.
Something about God's country, man. You're just hungry, man. You just gotta break bread, huh? You need something to eat.
Why can't we all get along? I just want to talk to you about Steelers.
I don't want to talk about the Steelers.
That's why I want to
That's why I
talk
got
about
a Penguins
it.
hat on. You see how fast I switch?
You know what? You got so many hats. Does that say BC on it? No.
It's not officially licensed by the Pittsburgh Penguins,
Oh, man.
like the rest of my clothes.
I didn't notice. You know what? I'm starting to sweat a little bit up here. First time this year. Oh man, it's a little warm.
One of these days, man, we're gonna run that through the washing machine.
I'm trying to
Tell you
get.
what, we're gonna get a new one with Brenner Contracting and Pittsburgh Sports Line. That's
All
what we're
right,
gonna
we'll
do.
throw this one away.
Not yet, not yet.
Oh,
keep
okay.
keep it still. Don't throw it away
All
yet.
right,
It's
thank
worth
you.
something on eBay.
Isn't
Couple
it?
bucks.
No, I tried to sell it. Nobody wants it. But I did find a magazine. I happen to be, since I'm an award-winning, prolific producer, I happen to be at Bethel Park Studios, and I saw this magazine. Now, every day on Facebook, I get phone calls, I get messages, and it's all about BC. So I'm looking at this. I said, Dave, I have to take this. He goes, you're not going to have fun at anybody's expense. I said, for sure. BC and BC. Bill, you got to get this. BC's holding BC. Notice I waited till he sat down because he keeps getting photos.
Right.
You got a magazine. Don't read it because I'd have to fire you.
Yeah, please, because you know if you gave it to Jim Frazier, they're not going to read it. He's
No.
not going to read
And
it
you're
at all.
only a close second behind. You keep liking some of my stuff
Well,
and
I
making.
tell you what, Jim, if you don't start helping the Steelers draft better, I'm going to start working on my scouting, and I'm going to actually start publishing some draft reports here real soon. Because you know something I heard Jim Frazier was putting out draft reports about NFL Europe. The thing of it is NFL Europe's been out of business for how many years? So what are you really doing, Smoking Jim? You got to get back, get out of these Division III schools, man. Quit hanging out at Clarion, brother. There's talent out there, man. You got to find it for us. And it's
this-
not Jarvis Jones.
Too slow or something?
He's definitely, well, I don't think he's too slow. He's just over pursues and he's out of position,
You've been
out of
saying
place.
he's over
Can't
pursuing.
play.
He's saying he can't get to the play. I'm in between. Why'd they draft him?
Ask your NFL scout on the panel.
Well, here, I'll bring up that text he sent me. Hey, Al, all the players they have are soft. If I don't eat my steak now, I'm not going to get a chance.
I'll tell you what, I'll give you a steak. I'll give you 2 steaks if you help them make a better decision here in this draft.
Hold it. Why don't you guys order up a steak since you're too wimpy to eat this burger? I'm not allowed to show it. Oh, yeah, I am. I got a good one. I'm not allowed to show this. John, this is for you. They won't eat my talking machine Big Mouth burger. They're too sensitive, young men.
What's on that burger, Levine?
I got to repeat it again. Guacamole turns you off, let alone jalapeno peppers, pepper jack. Bacon you
going.
like. Bacon. You eat bacon, won't you?
Keep going.
Lettuce, tomato, marinara sauce. Here, I'm done reading. I
That's
can
too
read.
much.
You guys are challenged.
Try one. It's big. Smoking Jim, you try one too.
It's big and it's good. You can get them tonight. Only at PNC Park.
Well, the last thing, obviously, got to give a shout out to Skeets. Always good
Why?
seeing Skeets because it's always business to be handled whenever you run into Skeets at a boxing match. Like you said, he's all purpose. He's doing so many things. I never seen him build the ring yet. Wink, wink, and take it apart. But
You know what? He was building rings before you were in diapers.
Oh, I know.
You weren't even thought of. That's
I
how
know.
old school he is. And he didn't even mention about the garage you can go to. Skeets, wherever that's at. You didn't mention the shameless
that's
promotion
outside
of your
Mineral
family.
Beach. Where's that at?
Finleyville. Tell them that Skeet service station.
Skeet service station.
They
in
smoke and they
Finleyville.
they shoot guns.
Bentworth High School? Bentworth High School?
Yeah.
Ringel.
You know Joe Montana?
Yeah.
Okay.
You ever go that far out of the city, Jim?
He travels. He's been.
Or should I say James? Or whatever alias you're going by these days. Tomorrow night it'll be different.
You think? That's still Smoking Jim Frazier. Well, since you're wearing Penguin gear, what's up with the Penguins? People say we don't mention enough Penguins during the Steelers season. I know you don't.
Well, they just made a trade and acquired a gentleman, a forward that we've been lacking, a
And
winger.
he scored.
He scored. He scored the only goal the other night in a blowout loss
I'm
for
glad-
the Penguins.
I'm
But it was a
glad.
rough weekend for the city in sports. Pitt lost about every way you could in basketball and football. The Penguins lost. Obviously, the Steelers lost over there in that debacle at Heinz Field. But when your all-purpose running back is out of the game and he counts for 40% of your offense,
MVP. You're
you
boosting
need
my
about
ego up
3
this
players
year.
to equal up to him. But Big Ben still kept us in the game, even though he also lost us the game. But you win some, you lose some.
You know what? I'm glad you come on the show because I got to keep bringing up our dirty laundry. I was the only guy that picked Bell exclusively, and I heard so much ridicule about my pick. How can you go against a quarterback? I sent you an article that you didn't read.
I've read a little bit of it.
You didn't read to the middle part where I told you to. That was the best part that reinforced what I said about Ben, Big Ben, who you love. He has a blanket with Big Ben's number on it. It's like a life-size one in his house. he was so disappointed I went against him, and he's been arguing with me for about, I don't know, a month
I
now.
also got a fat head of Willie Parker, so.
Yeah, I didn't want to mention that because now he's too slow. You don't like the guys that are too slow. But now he's endorsing why Bell was MVP. They take the quarterbacks for granted. They're supposed to do well.
Yeah, but that offensive
And you
line
should
that's
read that article.
my esteemed colleague touched on was like a
Hold it.
swinging
You know what? I
turnstile
was waiting
on
for
Saturday
this.
night over in the North
I
Shore.
got to look in my dictionary. I got this for Christmas from Zach's mother because somehow we argue about a lot of things. And this is from,
Is that an old Bible?
1915. This is the Pittsburgh Sportsline Bible. No esteemed in here. I don't understand who you're talking about. We're back to 1915.
Oh, so esteemed wasn't in the dictionary in
No,
1950?
not in this dictionary. It's a Funkin' Wagnalls. Get a close-up. You don't see this every day. Smells like 100 years old, too.
Only,
Now,
only
no
you
other...
would take that out of the wrapper and try to read that.
Yeah, I read it cover to cover
All
already.
right, Doc.
There's
You
not
really-
even a
I
Zach
wouldn't-
in there.
He can't give you the sports almanac, that's for sure.
Why
In
not?
the DeLorean, because you definitely lose that one.
It might. Notice this will be kept for another 100 years. Only on Pittsburgh Sportsline. That's an exclusive. Thanks, Lois Brenner.
Smoking Jim Frazier, will you be in Williamsport on the 24th of January for Gladiators of the Cage? Do you know how to get to Williamsport? Do you know what Williamsport's all about?
That's
Little League Baseball.
Hey, good.
I had to jump
Hey! I get pumped up, man, when you hit home runs.
in. Well, that's the exclusive show for Pittsburgh Sportsline, so I can't wait for the road trip.
Well, I can't make it on the 24th because there's a basketball fight in Steel Valley that night.
Unbelievable. And I just wanted to give a better shout out to Bethel Park, since these two guys, I know they talk a lot of nonsense.
Sometimes.
If you can you read that, Zach?
This is the one where it says prolific. Is that in the dictionary?
Yes.
It says in
It is.
recognition for his prolific producer efforts, creating 145 programs for Bethel Park Public Access Television in one calendar year. Al Levine, The Talking Machine. That's a lot of work.
And I'm just happy to be able to do it, and it's in the dictionary for me.
It's in the 1905 prolifics in there.
1915. And thanks to all of you, because your support and your likes, they actually help us. And watching us on YouTube helps. We set more records. Just this year alone, there were over 480 shows in Bethel Park. When I first started there, when we created this show, there were only 274. So to me, that's just awesome that we pumped up a whole community. And Bethel Park is expanding. There's even rumors about a new studio and everything else. There's a lot of coming attractions that could happen. They don't hear the rumors. I just saw my two colleagues. They're not esteemed. They're just great workers here. And they just looked at each other. What's he talking about? Maybe I let the cat out of the bag, but let's see what happens in the future in Bethel Park.
Smoking Jim, we missed you at this awards banquet for the second
I
straight
tried
year
to
in
make
a row.
it. I tried.
That's a lie.
I know you tried real hard,
Here.
real hard. The weather conditions were favorable.
Here's what's
There was
great about
there was
modern
dry.
technology. Hold it. I call him, I text him.
Jeez, what kind of phone is that?
I got tied up on a project.
Are you on your way? He knew what I was going to say. I saved it just so I could have it. Look at modern technology. Who needs a smartphone when you got these two guys? I can't even argue that. You proved my point. No, but it's great stuff. Hey, I had a shout out from friends of ours last year. Remember that event we went to?
The Brew and Chew.
And guess
How did
where
I
it's-
know you were going to go there?
Because I posted it. And
Are we going this year? Or we're
Well,
banned?
if you
I
mentioned
thought
Bruin,
I was good last year.
well, here's what you have to do. They said, "Can we get a little social media on this?" Because they go, "Al, we know you're good at it, but does anybody else on your team do it?" I said, "Remember that chauffeur that took me around?"
the show
Now, where was that located at?
at the Monroeville Expo.
God's country.
And guess who can't make it whenever I invite him to things? Brew and Chew. There's 2 sessions. I just wanted to tell you. Good friends of ours now. There's 2 sessions, 1 to 4 and 6 to 9. There's over like 70 different craft beers, 50 vendors. I ate so much food, Zach couldn't believe it. He goes, "This is a tasting. How could you actually eat that much food?" he couldn't keep up with me because a lot of it was spiced and healthy. There was healthy stuff. He
You
goes,
wouldn't ate any of it, Jim Frazier.
he wasn't going yay. And then there's beer.
You would have starved that day, brother.
These are the exploits of Pittsburgh Sportsline. So check out Brew and Chew. Here's the great thing about it. There's a $40 general admission. If you don't get your money's worth for all of you beer drinkers, you're insane or something's wrong with you. Just that beer alone, Zach doesn't even drink, and I'm glad he stopped. There were so many flavors there, we thought they were like candy. Somebody said, try this chocolate thing. I tried it and I go, this is beer. It's like outrageous. And the food, I mean, there's entertainment. There's all kind of, Jim, there's like models and pretty girls.
Oh, that's it. No, he's there.
No, he's not. I was
I mean,
lying.
look, all the ground in the ground.
I was
The crowd
lying
even
to
knows he's in now. He's there.
But it's a great event. Check it out. Brew and Chew, just check it out on Facebook. $40 for a general admission ticket. Here's the best part, $60 VIP.
What's that get?
They get you get a lanyard, a glass, something else, but they'll pick you up at the waterfront where you live, Station Square, and I don't know why it's out in Westmoreland, but there's 3 places. All you got to do is be there an hour early. They pick you up. I know I don't condone drinking, but I think that's what people are doing at this thing. So you can get chauffeured back. You don't have to even drive. Go to the waterfront, Station Square, or out in Westmoreland.
You
Check
know
it
where
out.
the waterfront is, don't you, Jim?
He's been there. And that's my shameless promotion there. And I heard we're invited to it.
Are we?
Yeah, you got to promote.
Then you know
you
we'll
got to
be
promote
there.
something on
You know
it.
we'll be there.
All
then.
right. Maybe post something on Facebook or something. You're good at that.
Okay.
All right.
I'll tag somebody. I'm gonna tag you, Jim.
Don't tag them here. I don't want to see anybody get hurt. We got boxers and MMA. Well, Smoking Jim, since we got a couple minutes, this is the busiest man in media who doesn't tell me what he's doing. I got articles that pop up. I got videos that pop up with business partners who are my friends, Jody. And, oh, didn't he tell you? No, I never heard about that. Oh, he was supposed to be here. What are you doing now? Anything in the new year? Tell me one thing besides Pittsburgh Sportsline twice a week.
Well, the one great thing that, we love to give back to the community. That's the most important thing is the Western Pennsylvania Heart, and we work very closely with the Police Athletic League and the Golden Gloves, and they are developing great young men, keeping them off the street. I can't wait for Golden Glove boxing this year.
That makes all of us here. And that segues into another promotion I want to bring up to you. Right before I left my house, I don't know, a couple hours ago to get here, since I had to lug all the equipment in here, Cody Heyer gave me some help, held the door for me.
Oh,
Skeets carried some stuff in, so I'm thankful
Jim
to that.
carried nothing.
No, he actually was here before you.
I know he got that prime
And
spot.
Skeets, can you help out some of them little hoodlums in Still Valley?
He'll answer yes to anything with boxing. Well, I had a phone call that a guy messaged me on Facebook, call me now. So, if somebody says that, I'll call him. The Puerto Rican Prince,
All right.
is going to appear at Duke's Rib House and Grill next week. Listen to this, with his team, including his son, who's a well-known boxer around here. And he now has more women boxers than I ever heard of. He has 5 women boxers, so his gym is just involved in a lot of great things in the area. He's volunteered to bring everybody out, Smoking Jim.
Fix the hole in the roof.
Well, that was because we had rain, and they said he didn't have Zach Brenner's number, like you did when he had to shovel you out of 8 feet of snow.
I still haven't got paid for that.
And then you had to cut his grass because he couldn't find his lawnmower.
I know you got that. I know you got that invoice. I know you got that invoice.
I'm rough on invoices, bro.
I know you're behind. You know what time it is.
It's Z time with Smoking Jim time. That's what I got here. Well, now, you mentioned something that's not happening until February. I'm looking at something a little closer. What do you got going on in January as I try to find out what you might be doing? Because it's a mystery to us. Are you doing anything?
Well, you know what? We always try to. I tell you what, we just came out with the first ever City League High School Hall of Fame. We had all the greats. Major Harris, Sam Clancy, Jennifer Bruce Scott. You just name all the great ones went into the Hall of Fame. And I tell you what, this year in January, we're going to try to get out to all the City League games for wrestling, volleyball, basketball, track and field, and support all the kids and hopefully get some of them scholarships into college.
Hey, that was a great event.
But the most important thing we do for the City League kids, we recruit them to Gateway.
So therefore, folks, nobody's going to Gateway and nobody's getting a scholarship. Sorry about your luck.
Listen,
Hey, Coach.
hold it.
Yes!
That would be Coach Terry Smith.
And
Where's
that's
he at now, Smoking Jim? Penn State.
Penn State. We are. Penn State.
Hey, my daughter went there. Just,
Oh, okay, that's
just
cool.
because of a few bad apples. I'm all about 409, not the cleaner.
Hey,
409.
if Penn State is up 31-6, ain't nobody coming back in the fourth quarter.
What, Joe Paterno is the coach?
He's not coming back either. May he rest in peace. No,
Hey, I love Joe Paul.
Me
He
too.
was like a grandfather to me.
To all of us.
well, yeah,
May he
sure.
rest in peace.
Yeah.
Put his
Great.
statue back up.
Well, all I want to see, since you had to bring up Paterno and Penn State, I didn't want to bring it up with Jennifer because she's not a big sports fan, but they shouldn't have taken all those wins away from them.
No.
I don't see how that could happen. And I'm still against that free report. That was the FBI director who's a criminal. I don't know how the free report was paid for and they put out and did all that. Now all of a sudden sanctions were taken off a year early.
You got to hear
Now-
Franco. He gets fired up over this.
I'm friends with Franco.
He gets fired up over
So
this.
I know that. We didn't talk about that. We've talked about other things. We try not to mention that stuff because we both agree.
Oh, okay.
That stuff shouldn't have happened like that. Now, should people have gone to jail? They should have went all the way up. And I've said that on our show before. And a lot of the activity that was hidden, that should not have been hidden. And the people that suffer more than anybody are the poor guys that got abused by that and their families. They'll never be the same, and we got to pray for them. I mean, that's what's sad about it. We can make fun of all the other stuff, but, you know, and sports are only entertainment, really. You shouldn't live and die by it like we do, but that's how it is.
Oh, football's life and death.
Yes, it is.
Oh, that's life and death.
No,
Win,
it's-
baby. Just win, baby.
I'm done talking about football here.
Win at all costs. Even if you got to videotape the walkthrough and you haven't won since. That's whatever it takes. It's only cheating if you get caught.
Well, there's guys in the Hall of Fame that committed penalties on every play, linemen, and even wrote a book, Conrad Dobler, dirtiest player in the NFL.
My favorite player.
He
of
committed
all
a
time.
foul every play because he knew they couldn't call all the fouls. Now we got them calling fouls that aren't fouls.
Give me
I don't
Conrad
understand it.
Dobler and Romanowski, and I'll never lose a game.
We had a Freudian
I
slip.
saw Smokey Jim was checking out the referees on Jerry Jones' party bus out in Dallas.
Oh, for all you Johnny-come-latelys, that was earlier in the year. That was well known. It only come out now. Like a billionaire is not going to own somebody. Well, try to have some morals. That's it for our show. We'll be back here 2 weeks from now, and we're going to have that Big Mouth burger. You guys eat what you want. Build your own burger. That's why it's there. And we're thankful for that. We'll be back here. Next week, check us out at Duke's Rib House and Grill. And thanks to everybody who ventured out on this 3-degree wind chill factor day. Scott Benton,
Scott Bain,
who usually doesn't make it, Gladiators of the Cage is here.
Shout out to my mother. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for her, and to my brother. Also in
Hold
attendance
it.
tonight.
That is now Addison Alexander, Brenner. And we're not going to mention any politics because we have to have a 60-day notice. And we're not going to mention that because he's going to get fined and be banned from running.
School board is still
Okay,
valid?
he's going to lose that. You're not allowed to do that. That's going to have to be cut. That's why I do that. That'll be cut. You can't put it on there. And that's it. Dave will have to add this. Thanks for watching our show. Drive safe.